Hello and welcome to another video from Sustenance and Cover, the only YouTube channel you need to not only survive the current apocalypse but actually enjoy it. And today we're going to be talking about bugging out. The reason for this is in this here survivalist slash prepper community, bugging out seems to be a really hot topic. Not only that, but every video I make I get a question or two about my own personal bug out plan. Personally, I do not have a comprehensive bug out plan. I don't think it's a good idea, and every penny I spend on a bug out bag is a penny that I don't get to spend on my chickens or my garden or some other essentials that I need for surviving here at my home. I highly recommend, if you have the resources, have you a comprehensive bug out plan as well as a comprehensive stay at home plan. However, my own experience is that people do not see a need to bug out when their own personal circumstances are good. In other words, normally rich people don't watch my videos. They're so happy and content with their life and the knowledge that everything's going to go smooth with them forever that they see no need whatsoever to bug out or even live a sustainable life. So they're not seeing this. The people who are tuning in and subscribing to me are generally in the same situation I'm in. They got to make a decision every month on what they're going to do with the few little bit of pennies they got left over. And I highly recommend you try to make sure that you spend it wisely. Now, we're going to ask 3 questions so you can decide for yourself if you want to bug out. And here we go. First question, number 1. Is the place where you are going better than where you are? Because there's a lot of misconceptions about this. There's people that live in the country that think that when the end comes, food distribution centers will be set up in the city, and so that's where they want to go. The reality is, a lot of times people imagine that that's what's happening. The word will get out and spread that that's what's happening, and when you get there, that ain't what's happening. Now, another thing is people that's living in the city think if they get to the country that they'll be able to find them a little spot where they can grow a garden. And they got one of them little vacuum packed cans full of seeds. I promise you, if you do not have an established garden and you go and bug out with a box of vacuum packed seeds, you're going to be very, very disappointed. Gardening is an art and a science and takes years to understand. So that's not a good idea. Now, a lot of times people think that their main problem is going to be wandering gangs of thugs beating people up and taking their food. And that may be true. But just because there are wandering gangs of thugs in the city doesn't mean there won't be wandering gangs of thugs in the country. And if you know of an isolated little spot somewhere, you can believe the locals also are aware of that spot. So running to another location to avoid gangs may not work. The only time that a person might want to bug out is if they are in a localized event, like a flood or an earthquake or some other natural disaster, man-made disaster. Doesn't really matter, because a local event is only going to make life tough where it happens. So if you can get out of that area to go somewhere else, then that's fine. But the reality is in this country that if 1% of the country is destroyed, the other 99% will come to your aid. You can just stay put anyway. Question number 2, can you really get there? I mean, if you're going to go somewhere on foot and all you got to worry about is walking, that's one thing. You know, how much can you carry walking? I don't know. But most people's bug out plan includes taking a vehicle along. Now, as we get closer and closer to the economic collapse, resources such as fuel are going to get less and less. And you may find that the day you make the decision to go somewhere is the day that all the fuel is gone. Or even if you have fuel, do you really trust your car? I have bugged out for Katrina, and I can tell you, just going, I guess we got about 70 miles the first day. It took us all day to go 70 miles. And on the way there were cars broke down on both sides of the road. There were cars flipped over. There was cars that had wrecked into one another. And when we came back, them cars were in the same spots. Because services like wreckers, ambulance, fire, and police are non-existent in a bug out situation. Period. because even if the police are still around, they can't get to you. If you're ever in a bug out situation, a massive bug out situation, every lane of traffic is filled up and people will be driving on the dirt. So police can't get through to you. Question number 3. Can you really live on the items in your bug out kit? Now, if you're a good hunter and all you can carry is what'll fit in that kit, that means you're going to have a pistol, or maybe one of them fold up 22s, you know, where the barrel comes out and tucks into the butt or something like that. It's going to be a whole lot harder to hunt with an emergency gun than it is with your $800 hunting rifle that you have to leave at the house. Not only that, but the average American lives in a house that is 2,000 square feet, and they have a storage facility that they rent because the material possessions they absolutely need to sustain their life will not fit in a 2,000 square foot house. If you're one of these people, ask yourself, can I really live on the items in a 1 cubic foot bag when I have a hard time living on items that will fit in a 2,000 square foot house? You can call it luxury, but if that luxury is something you have lived with for the last 50 years, you're going to find it very, very difficult to live without it. So think about that. Bugging out is a logistics nightmare in more ways than one. The stress of living through a collapse is going to be horrendous for those who are not prepared. To bug out will multiply that stress exponentially. The resources that you will expend sitting at your house waiting for the worst to pass is a whole lot less than the resources you're going to have to expend traveling cross country to get to some place that you think might be better. And if you get there and it ain't better, you're really going to be stressed. So anyways, those are the 3 questions I got for you to think about. But I also want you to look at something, and I've mentioned this in several other videos. There is a YouTuber named Anti-Terrorist, the Anti-Terrorist. And his channel has got a video entitled something like Hunker Down or Bug Out, or Booger In or Bug Out. He's British, so they use a little bit different terminologies. But look at that video. It's about a 10-minute video, and it talks about a lot of the things I just talked about, but even more detail. I really and truly don't know that bugging out has any benefits whatsoever for a national event or a worldwide event. Other than a localized event, bugging out is a bad idea. You will be in traffic forever, and traffic on the other side going right to where you just left is going to be just as deep as the traffic you're in trying to get where you don't know. So please think hard before you make the decision to bug out. And if you have limited resources to spend on either bugging out or hunkering down, spend them on the latter. That's it. If you don't want to survive, don't listen to me.